Back on Sportsbit, Paulie and Teddy. Time for Big Game Breakdown. As always, live odds, sportsbookreview.com. Later tonight, Game 3 NLCS series tied at 1, Cubs and the Dodgers. Arrieta against Rich Hill. Cubbies $1.15, 6.5 the total. The Cubs have never won a best of 7 when the series is tied at 1. 1908 for a reason. They're confident with their pitching and their defense. It's been great. Arrieta, 2 starts against the Dodgers the last 2 seasons. The no-hitter last year at Dodger Stadium. And the 7-inning shutout at Wrigley. 16 innings pitched, no runs, 2 hits, 20 strikeouts. Now the 2-15 playoffs, he carried a big load. This time only 1 start in 20 days. And I thought he pitched well against the Giants. And hey, the Cubbies need all the help they can get. Thank God their pitchers can hit.
Yeah, really. If it wasn't for the Cubs pitchers, this playoffs might have a different feel right now, because with pitchers that got a whole bunch of key hits in that series against San Fran. But, let's start with this. The Cubs 3, 4, and 5 hitters, the heart of the order. They're 6 for 60 in the playoffs. Anthony Rizzo is 1 for 23 with 6 strikeouts. And Addison Russell 1 for 22 with 3 strikeouts. That's not going to get it done. And look at this price, Paulie. I mean, really, I thought the Cubs would come in the range of -135, -140, -145. You got the Cubs off a loss. You have Arrieta, who's shown that dominance against the Dodgers, both last year and this year. And you have Rich Hill, who we'll talk about in a minute, who hasn't been that good in the postseason. You have the public in love with Chicago. You have Chicago coming off a loss. All of these factors made me think this line's going to come higher, and yet it didn't. And it's been sitting in a lower range, and it got bet even a little bit lower yesterday. And that has everything to do with the fact that the Chicago Cubs lineup right now is real questionable, and I think the markets have their concerns about Arrieta, even though he's as rested as it gets. After him, and he carried the load for this team last year in the postseason. This year he hasn't had to. 1 start in 20 days. We'll see if he's fresh.
Well, I got to see what Mad's made of here. Enough's enough. Shake up the lineup, for Christ's sake. You cannot play Russell. You mentioned 1 of 22 with the strikeouts. Then he's fallen asleep on defense. He didn't cover the bag on a stolen base in the last game. You can't play these guys, and if you do, you got to move them down in the order. Baez has been terrific. Get him up in the order. And Rizzo, he's had a couple good at-bats. He almost took Kershaw deep, but when 3, 4, 5, and 6 right in a row are easy outs, you got big problems. And the pitchers have been bailing them out with how they've hit. So, Russell had 95 RBIs. He's on a milk carton in the playoffs so far. So you mentioned it too. So man's got to mix up the lineup. Enough. So I don't care about we won 103 games. You got to do something here. Put runners in play, mix up the lineup, and do something. I would bench Russell. In any event, you mentioned Rich Hill. Hey, it was a struggle so far to get in the National Series, Teddy.
Yeah, sure. I mean, he only lasted 7 innings in a couple of starts. Gave up 5 runs, 9 hits, 4 walks. Averaged nearly 20 pitches per inning. And again, Hill was a guy who throughout the regular season were saying, man, he's overachieving. Man, he's overachieving. Wow, look what Rich Hill's doing. How is Rich Hill doing this? He may be at a guess, which is just another reason why this line should be higher, and it's not. It smells bad, I'm telling you. David Ross, 1 of 13 against Rich Hill with 8 strikeouts, and all other Cubs have only 5 career at-bats against him. So perhaps Hill has an edge in that department. He did not have that level of unfamiliarity with the Washington's Nationals lineup. They were much more familiar with Hill than Chicago is.
Hey guys, for the full video, go to sbrpicks.com.
Go to sbrodds.com. Browse, compare, and shop live odds available at top online sportsbooks.